Happy Financial Fridays, everyone. Financial Fridays, Financial Fridays, Financial Fridays. Guess that would excite me. Probably doesn't excite other people as much as it excites me, but hey, it is what it is. Give everybody a few moments to come in, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Let me share this as you're coming in. Please do me a favor and make sure you hit the share button, and not only hit the share button, but leave your comments or your questions as well. So let's see, that's that. Share this in the Scoop Nation. Come on in, let's see. All right, cool, we're good. So again, happy Financial Fridays to everybody. Hope you guys are having an amazing day so far. I know it's still early for many people. We've got a lot to do today. I've got personally a lot going on. But before I get started, let me first take this opportunity to say Happy Mother's Day to all of our mothers. I hope that you are doing something special, or at least having the opportunity to love on and hug on your mother, your children. If you're somebody who has lost your mother, then my prayers are definitely with you, and I hope that you have a good day, obviously, as well. But this is a great Mother's Day. So I'm going to tell y'all a real quick story, okay? I'm going to tell a real quick story about my mother. So my mother, Miss Eugenia, my mother is by nature has a very similar personality to myself. Very laid back, very quiet, normally personality, but she's also does some funny stuff. So I kind of shared this a little bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and share the rest of it. So when I was a kid, we lived. I played basketball we lived in Calumet City, Illinois, and in Calumet City, I played basketball in the Civic League, so I had my uniform, and one day my mom, hey LJ, how you doing? Make sure you hit the share button. So my mom, one time, we forgot to wash my uniform, and I had a game, so she hurried up and washed the uniform, but we didn't have time to dry it, and so my mother, my dad's like, what are we going to do? The boys got a game and we need to get him there. His jerseys, we couldn't figure out what to do. So my mom says, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to dry it in the microwave. Yes, my mother says, I'm going to put this in the microwave and we'll put it on there for 2 minutes and it should hurry up and dry this jersey. Well, let's just say it didn't work out like that. So my mom dried the jersey, or put the jersey in the microwave, and it came out like about that big. And my dad it was so funny. He was so mad. Like, why would you put his boy's jersey in? It was so funny. We laughed about it later on, and I wound up they just had to buy me a new jersey. But my God, my mother, she was trying. She was doing the best she could. And she microwaved my jersey and shrunk it to something where like a doll. It was like a doll size. It was so small. It was hilarious. So that's my funny story about my mother on Mother's Day. My mother, for those who don't know, again, is probably the reason why I love the scripture the way I do. My mother pounded it into our heads as children. She made us love scripture. I didn't like it then, but as an adult, obviously, I learned to love it because she made sure, as the Bible says, that it was in my heart, that it was something that I knew. So I owe that to her. Among the fact that she's just probably one of the most patient people I've ever seen. She's really wonderful with people. She's a nurse, which speaks to why she's a nurse. But so anyway, so I just want to say Happy Mother's Day to my mother and to any other, to you if you're watching this and you're a mother, and to anybody else's mother. So all right, let's get into this. So yesterday I posted a couple of articles which were inspirations for today's video. I posted one that talked about how in 2016 that the three top banks, Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, and Wells Fargo, just between the three of those banks, brought in over $6 billion in overdraft fees, $6.4 billion in overdraft fees, and that's just three banks. Then I looked up some more information and found that across the industry in 2017, that financial institutions, and that's including banks and credit unions, brought in over $33 billion in overdraft fees. So I want to say it was the CFPB maybe, or whoever it was who did the math, went back and looked and said that if you looked at this, that this number, this $33 billion accounted for, or an average, was about $25 per American household. That's a lot. But it goes even deeper when you look at the numbers and the statistics, and shows that these numbers are overwhelmingly slanted towards the lower class and the lower middle class, which of course would make sense because obviously if you are, and it doesn't mean that wealthy people don't overdraw their accounts, because they do, but people who have typically more money and more assets, your banking institutions are more willing to refund those fees because they have more money, because they want those accounts to them are a lot more, they're worth a lot more. So, and for those who don't know, I'm not speaking as somebody who doesn't have any, who doesn't know what I'm talking about. Again, this is my industry. My degree from Langston University is in finance. I've worked for three of the top 5 banks in the country, as well as one of the top credit unions in the country, for being everything from starting out as assistant branch manager all the way up to assistant vice president, as well as investment banker, business banker, consumer product manager specialist for credit union. So I have I got some years doing this, and I've seen this on the ground level as well as working your way up. So again, and I'm not against, don't hear me well, I'm not, this is not a way to rag on banks. This is obviously a part of how they make money. And we all know when we sign up for a bank account that they charge overdraft fees and how they're charged. So today I wanted to give you guys 5 ways that we can make sure that you as a consumer, that you don't have to get charged overdraft fees, or at least you can reduce overdraft fees, because my role as your money mentor is to reduce debt and to create more wealth. And one of the best ways to reduce debt is to not give your money to fees. So fees meaning interest, fees meaning overdraft fees, fees meaning ATM fees, any type of extra fee we want to make sure we can eliminate, okay? And so I want to talk about overdraft fees specifically today, because again, I think, if we're getting $6.4 billion from the 3 top banks and 33.8, a little over $33 billion in overdraft fees in this country, that's a lot of money, okay? And so again, I want to make sure that you, as someone who knows me, knows ways around that as possible. Also, before I jump in this, let me remind you, if you have not signed up to be on my mailing list, on this particular page, there's a button that says sign up. You want to click that and sign up, and that puts you into my Money Mentor email list. What that does is anytime I have classes, anytime I have specials, anytime I have anything, you guys will be one of the first to know, and you won't miss it. Anytime we do something, I try to send it. Plus, you'll get out my free gift, which is my Money Mentor budgeting spreadsheet or workbook, So if you don't have that, then you want to hit that sign up button that's on this page, on my public figure page, and you want to sign up for that as well. Okay. All right, so here we go. Let me give you 5 things, the 5 ways that you can avoid overdraft fees. So the first way to avoid overdraft fees is that if you have a banking relationship, you can set up what's called overdraft protection. So overdraft protection is a service either through a credit line or through a savings account where you can link those up to your checking account. And if there are any fees that are going to be assessed to the account, instead of you getting a $35 or a $30 overdraft fee, it will pull that balance from your account, that other account, either that credit line or that savings, put it into your checking account, and that item is covered. Now you want to be sure, because in a lot of financial institutions, there is a fee for that. So I know some might charge $5, $10 in order to make that transfer, but that's better than the $33 or the $35 times however many transactions you would get. So overdraft protection is something. I personally recommend using some type of credit line, but only if that credit line is not something that you're going to be using on a regular basis, because you wouldn't want to think that you have this $500 credit line, but you've already used it because you're swiping it in stores or something like that, or if it's something that you're going to keep below balance on. Because again, this should only really be in an emergency situation that this happens, okay? And again, if I didn't say this initially, let me say this. There is guys, anytime I'm talking to you guys, please understand there is no shame and there is no guilt that we need to have. This is really just about us educating ourselves and us getting better. I said it on a post a couple of days ago. I'm going to say it again. Guess what? I have a degree in this. I teach it. I work it. And guess what? I've overdrawn my account before. So it's not anything that we need to be shamed about. It's something we need to learn from, and we can do better with. Okay, it's something we need. And accidents happen, mistakes happen. But if we can put ourselves in positions where we don't continue to make the same mistake, then we don't continue to get further and further behind. I've been in that situation. I'm gonna say I've been in that situation where I've overdrawn my account working at the bank, where I've overdrawn my account to the point where I was embarrassed to go to work because I knew that when my paycheck came, a good chunk of my paycheck would be taken up. I've been there before. So again, this is not anything for us to be shamed about. This doesn't say anything about you, negatively. It doesn't mean that you're a horrible person. It doesn't necessarily mean any of that. It just means that, again, that either we don't know, we make a mistake, we try to get out of a situation and we didn't do it the right way. Whatever it is, it happened. There is no shame. Let's just learn from it, okay? Cool. All right, so that's one. Number one, again, is overdraft protection. You can set that up simply by either, depending on where you bank at, asking them. For some, it's a simple form. Some of it is just a simple click on a button that they could do. If you have an online account, sometimes you can just go online to your online banking and set that up as well. So overdraft protection is number one. Number two. The number two thing that you could do and should do is pretty much every financial institution allows you in some way, either through email, through text message, or both, to set up what's called low balance spending alerts or low balance alerts. And what that does is you can go into your online banking or to your service and say, hey, when my balance gets to X dollar or under X dollar amount, send me a text message or send me an email. And so it could be, $500, $100, whatever number you need, based upon the amount of money you normally spend, then you set it for that amount. So if you normally are comfortable, if you're comfortable saying, okay, I'm cool till I get to $100 and I need to know, then you set that alert. And the way that happens is, again, is once you get to that balance, your financial institution will let you know either through text or through email. And again, now you know. Now, if you know, like I had an incident a couple of months ago where I knew that was wrong, then I knew that's when I had this situation where somebody had frauded my account. So you want to keep something like that, keep that on your account so you can set low balance alerts. You can even, if your bank or credit union or financial institution offers it, set up spending alerts. So if you spend over a certain dollar amount, it can alert you to that as well. So set that up. Number three. So number three is something that used to be pretty popular but isn't anymore. Number three is there is now, as of I want to say about 2010 maybe, no maybe 2009, 2000, I don't know, somewhere around there. When you open an account, a checking account somewhere, the financial institution has to ask you if you want them to pay overdraft situations on everyday transactions is what they call them. And so what that means is that they have to, you sign a form saying, yes, I want you, if I'm going to overdraw my account on an everyday transaction, I want you to pay it, or no, I don't want you to. And so you can set it to where they don't pay it. And that way, if you go into, and again, this is only on everyday transactions. So if it's a repeat transaction, if you have something on auto pay, it won't cover that. If you have something, if you go to the gas station, and you know, gas stations typically only authorize $1, it won't catch that. But if you just, your everyday transactions, you go into the store, you've got $35 in your account, and you go to buy something for $40, it would not allow that purchase to go through. Now you need to know that if that's going to happen, because then if it denies your purchases, you don't want to be embarrassed, or you want to know why. But at the same time, it will prevent overdraft protection or overdraft your account from getting overdraft fees. And remember, and that's the goal. Now in that scenario, if you have overdraft protection like we talked about before, then that transaction still goes through and the overdraft protection will kick in, okay? So if you have overdraft protection, then and you say, okay, deny my transactions, then it sees you have the overdraft protection, it'll pay the item and take the money from the overdraft protection. But again, it's to prevent you from paying overdraft fees, okay? So number two, that's called debit overdraft coverage. So you can actually go into your bank or call your bank and say, hey, what am I set up? What's my debit overdraft coverage set up as? And they'll let you know. They'll say, okay, you told us to deny your transactions, or you told us to pay them. And if you want to switch it, you can do that. And you can do that at any time. So it's not you're stuck in there permanently. It's something that you can adjust and change anytime you like. All right. So the number four thing, that you could do is very simple. You can go to a cash-only system. A cash-only system, what that does is that just eliminates the whole card thing anyway, so you don't even have to worry about whether or not the money is there, because everything you buy, you're going to buy with cash. If you are a person who habitually overdraws, and my clients who habitually overdraw, this is what I really recommend for them to do, because some people just don't have that grace to do it, and that's fine. So, but if you have a cash-only system, then whatever cash you have, you can spend that and that alone. And then you don't have to worry about fees, because those fees, are not even applicable, because you're only using cash, okay? And then the number one thing, and probably the most important thing that we could do to avoid overdraft fees, is create a budget. Very simple. Create a budget. And so that way, when we create a budget, what that does is that gives us, we know what we can and cannot do. We know that we should not or we cannot pay for something because we don't have the money for it. Because we know how much we can spend in a certain area, how much we shouldn't spend. So again, creating a budget is the number one way, and sticking to the budget is the number one way to avoid overdraft fees. Because if you have a budget, you stick to those numbers, then you don't have to worry about going over, because you know what you spend, and once you get to that, you stop. Okay, that's the number one way to do it, and that's why I'm saying you got to create a budget. We're still in this country, the last time I looked up the numbers, we're still at about 50% of the country uses a budget. And I would probably say that less than that actually have a budget and use it and maintain it on a regular basis. But so if we can inch that number up and get everybody to the point where they are using a budget, where they're using the budget consistently, then again, now we know how much money we can spend in a specific area. And yeah, and I know budgets are not the most fun thing to do, but again, it's something that we definitely have to do. And I read something the other day that says that that's one of the habits of millionaires, is that millionaires have budgets. If you've never read the book, The Millionaire Next Door, that's an awesome resource too. That one was probably for me a life changer. But it would also give you the understanding to understand just how important budgeting is in your personal life as well as in business. Because if you're not financial planning, if you're not budgeting, if you're not looking at it, if you're not focusing on it and concentrating on making sure that your financial house is secure, then it's not something that's going to remain secure. So I hope those 5 help. Let me give you one more real quick. The number 6 thing that you could do, and it kind of falls under the second thing, which I said was the low balance alert. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of Mint.com. Mint.com is also something that you could use that'll help you get those alerts too, and it will help you set budgets. So you might not like my worksheet, which you should, but Mint.com is an online tool that you can literally pull up on your phone and look to see not only your budgets, but it will tell you at the end of yesterday's business day what your balances were as well. And that's another tool that will help you not overdraw your account. So I gave you 6. I said 5, but I gave you 6. So I hope those helped. Again, try those and then let me know what you think. And then do me a favor, like I said, if you have not shared this video, please share. Because again, this is Financial Fridays. I'm all for making profit. But again, I think that if we're going to make profit, we shouldn't do it off of overdraft fees. That is something that, especially when I know that typically they come from people who cannot afford them. And it was one of the reasons why, why banking was like, spell Mint, M-I-N-T, Mint, mint.com is what it is. So, so go to mint.com, mint.com, and you can sign. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. There is a little work if you want to use it fully, like to pay bills and all that kind of stuff. It does take some work to set it up, but once it's set up, you're good. You're good to go. So, all right, y'all. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Hope you have a good rest of your weekend. Again, happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers. And we are going to, I think we're taking Mom out to dinner Sunday, so that's what we're doing this weekend. And of course, I'm gonna tell her that I just done told on her in her microwave in my uniform, and she probably gonna laugh, but oh well, and get embarrassed. So again, and then also, if you have not signed up for the Money Mentor, for my Money Mentor spreadsheet, or excuse me, to be on my email list and get the workbook, click on the sign up button on this page, and we'll get you signed up. All right. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Have a good day.